Today, I will be sharing an in-depth review of a keris that I recently added into my collection. A keris that in all likelihood represented someone from the 19th century, a freedom fighter who struggled for the freedom and liberty of the Malay states from British colonial rule. Keep watching to learn more. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to another video. May you be in good health and positive spirit always. Once again, you are with me, Ivory Johari, better known as Pak Jofe, the Keris collector from Singapore, and you are watching another educational video that I hope will help you grow your collecting skills and develop a healthy collecting habit right here on the Keris Collector YouTube channel. It's been a while since I last uploaded any long-form video content on this channel. My sincerest apologies for that. Thank you to many of you who took the time to contact me asking if I am alright. You all know who you are. It is touching to know that there are concerned and eager viewers who anticipates a video from me each week. Just to share the good news and also the reason for my brief hiatus is because of this little bundle of joy. Always a pleasure to welcome another son into the family. Alhamdulillah, praise the Lord Almighty for blessing my household with many children. Right, before I digress any further, let's get into this keris review right now. As many of you are aware by now, sometime last month I was successful in winning a keris via auction bid on eBay. The keris was delivered about 2 weeks ago, during which I had some time to assess and note down my observations. A significant note on its provenance, I acquired this keris from one Mr. Rick, residing from North Carolina in the United States of America, through the eBay auction platform in early April of 2022 this year. Based on what I have gathered so far, he acquired this piece as is from another individual quite some time back. To the best of his knowledge, he is uncertain if any modifications has been done and the history of previous custodians. Meaning to say, the line of custodian that I know of today begins with the individual whose identity remains anonymous, who then sold it to Mr. Rick. Then for a time, he was the legal custodian, and now finally I am the next recent custodian. See where I am going with this. To ensure a meaningful documentation, it is vital to put it on record the travel path and line of custodian of your collection. Inshallah, in a future video, I will share with you my best practices for documenting a collection. First up, let's take a look at the overview of its presentation. Let's talk about the material used at a glance. Generally, what is visible, the dress fittings are made up of wood, brass, silver, and bone, which appears to simulate ivory. Now, this is interesting. From what I can assess visually, this does not appear to be bone. It may instead be ivory. It seems to possess the visual aesthetics of elephant ivory. But for now, I will leave it as inconclusive until I send this for further testing at a lab for a confirmed result. The stylistic form of the end cap, here in the Peninsular Malay regions, we refer to it as sepatu lepir, or buntut lepir, or tampuk lepir, depending on which state region you are at. Translated to English, loosely it means flat end cap or shoe. Now, let's take a step back, going back to my earlier suspicion that this might be elephant ivory. Point to note, throughout my years of collecting and viewing various keris collections, I have seen numerous examples of keris dress fittings such as this, fitted with elephant ivory end caps. If this example here is indeed elephant ivory, perhaps you might be wondering why and how is it that a rather minimalist looking piece such as this one is fitted with a bit of ivory. What purpose does it serve? Well, This would suggest that the original owner of this piece, in all likelihood, travels often by land, or perhaps stationed inland, and his vocation required him to cut through dense jungle and vegetation. In our native Malay traditional beliefs, elephant ivory is said to have the qualities that allows wild beasts to be tamed. In Malay, we call this bersifat penunduk. It mellows down wild temperaments. Further believed that elephant ivory also tames men with the hearts of beasts, or so they say. On an esoteric level, relating to magic and sorcery, it is said that elephant ivory will neutralize magical influences directed at the one who is in possession of a piece of ivory. How true is it? Wallahu a'lam, only God knows best. The type of wood used for the Sampir and Hulu, from what I can observe, may not be from the Kumuning tree. From the grain patterns, it may be from the Angsana tree. The Batang Serunai appears to be made from a softer wood with grains closely resembling Assam wood. Again, this is just a hypothesis and can only be concluded through lab analysis. When it comes to choice of wood, it is interesting to note that back in the day, the wood selected to make its fittings not only serves as a decorative tool that allows the blade to be carried around safely, but the woods are selected for its healing and curative properties as well. Assam wood has been proven to contain antibacterial properties, while Angsana wood has been found to contain an active ingredient that promotes blood clotting. This is an amazing observation. Why carry around two separate items, a weapon and a first aid kit? The Keris solves this problem by being a two-in-one solution. It is both a weapon and a first aid kit at the same time. Of course, this is related to the context of Keris culture from the Peninsular Malay Keris diaspora. Perhaps other Keris cultures too may adopt this idea, but for today, the context of this discourse centers around this Malay Keris. Alright, moving on. The style of the Sampir too is interesting. From one glance, it may be deduced it's from Sumatra, but from my experience, I would say the style seems to match similar examples which I have seen for myself and agreed by several notable local Keris collecting veterans. This style closely resembles the form native to the Peninsular Malay regions of the state of Perak from the 19th century. Look at this workmanship. Finely crafted, extremely thin yet sturdy. This requires great skill and experienced hands. Now, if you observe closely from this angle, you would notice that the blade does not seem to sit nicely. This would suggest that this fitting may not have been the original Sampir fitting that was made for this blade. There are many reasons for this, one of them being it could suggest that the original Sampir may have been damaged or lost, or perhaps the original owner may have taken a liking to this style of Sampir and decided to use it as his permanent dress fitting for his blade. Here in the Peninsular Malay region, we attribute this as a Sampir tumpang, whereby the Sampir fittings may have been replaced from the one that was initially meant for it. So here is a key takeaway for you when buying an old Keris. This is one of the key indicators for evaluation before deciding on the purchase. Some dealers may swap out the original fittings with a view that it makes the Keris more aesthetically pleasing or retain it for a more profit. Some fittings may be ornately decorated with precious metals and gemstones, but with a blade in a poor condition. Hence, dealers may opt to swap out the blade, and this results in a mismatched fitting most of the time. Personally, I do not encourage this practice as it greatly devalues any historical connections it may have had and worse, it confuses the next generation on historical accuracy, resulting in a misaligned expectation and romanticizing perfection. The brass pendongkok is commonly referred to as pendongkok piring. Here in the Peninsular Malay Keris diaspora, it has a weight that matches those produced in the 19th century period. This little silver ring here may appear to serve as a talismanic purpose to some, but to me, this is a very creative way to ensure that the hilt sits nicely in place. As you can see, when I remove them, the hilt does not go all the way through, meaning the depth of the hollow is quite shallow. If I do not include the accompanying silver ring, there will be a noticeable gap between the pendongkok and the hilt. So, logic dictates that this silver ring is there to keep the hilt fitted nicely in place. The form and style of the hulu may be confused with that of a patah tiga or kerdas type hilt. But from references and observations made by veteran collectors, this closely matches a hilt type unique to the Malay state of Perak. Referred to as jalak menyabung, for a hilt to be classified into this category, the chin of the hilt must be perpendicular horizontally. If it is tilted upwards or downwards, it is referred to by another native description. Philosophically, this also suggests that the owner of this keris does not look at others differently. He looks at others in equal capacity, regardless of rank and status. This would also suggest that he may not hesitate to pick a fight with someone who is of a higher rank than him. And that concludes the first part of my review. We have only covered the dress and fittings of this keris. To a keris geek like myself, we take pleasure in noting down our observations and generating hypotheses from it. I'll be right back with part 2 after these messages. Nah, I was just kidding. But if you do have quality services or products to promote, I am open to listen to your pitch, and I welcome brand deals and episode sponsorships of any kind. If you would like to get in touch with my team, check out the link to our contact page in the show notes below. And now we return to our regularly scheduled episode. Now that I have covered the fittings, we will now dive into the blade. And here we have it, a beautiful Peninsular Malay blade. If you recall the method of counting keris looks from my earlier videos, you can apply any of the counting methods right here. Here we have a 13 look keris blade. This itself makes it a rare specimen example. You see, in the keris culture from the Peninsular Malay diaspora, rarely do we come across a Malay keris blade incorporating 13 looks. Personally, for me, in all my 25 years of collecting and interacting with other collectors, I personally have never handled an antique Malay keris blade with 13 looks until today. Previously, I have only heard and read about it in works written by far more senior Malay collectors. It was said that a 13-look keris is only meant for one with a kamikaze type attitude, for king and country, kill first question later types, whereby they will be more than willing to go charging into battle even if the odds of victory is zero. Their overzealous nature often overrides logic and rationale, and may be one who is motivated by unquestioning loyalty and complete disregard for self-preservation. A strong-willed and determined character archetype whose life philosophy is either you or me. Hence, it is not surprising that as narrated by senior collectors, those who adopts a keris blade with 13 looks as his personal everyday carry of sorts don't usually end well. Oftentimes, they will be met with a tragic and grisly end. Forged from a single-core hammer-forged iron billet. Here, in this region, we call it besi sebatang. But this is just a generalization. Let it be known, Based on the accumulated knowledge shared by various traditional pandai besis from the besi type ascribed with the descriptive name of besi sebatang, it can be made to produce further another 4 types of besi. Now, I will not go into the details of all these besi types today, but I will share the type of besi on this keris blade. In this specimen, likelihood this is formed as a besi tarung, a strong, hardy, and sharp blade ideal for melee attacks, highly resistant to rust and featuring a smooth surface blade. Up close, this blade shows signs of natural aging and corrosion, but still retains that smooth surface feel. You see, natural aging is something that cannot be replicated today by means of chemical aging. The differences will be obvious. With regards to the style of the keris blade itself, I am inclined to place this in the category of a Malay style blade. Supposedly, a Malay blade is defined by the name of the iron material used, besi Malay, which is characterized by its black color, smooth surface, absence of surface pores, and resistance to rust. In some Patani accounts, the Malay style blade originated from the 18th century, starting from a Pandai besi named Pandai Zainal, a student from the lineage of Pandai Saras. Another account from Terengganu suggests that the Malay style blade was first made by a Pandai besi in the service of Sultan Ahmad of Terengganu, who reigned in the 19th century. In Terengganu, the Malay style blade is referred to as a bilah gelugur or gelugur blade. I, however, have a different opinion based on the base design, and comparing that with existing and known antique examples, I am inclined to believe that this has the hallmark signature style prevalent in blades made in the Malay state of Pahang. I am inclined to believe that this is true. Historically, Pahang, Perak, Kedah, and several other Malay states have a history of local figures who were hailed as heroes for their staunch belief in liberating the Malay states from British colonial rule. Historical figures like Tok Janggut, Mat Kilau, Datuk Bahaman, Datuk Maharaja Lela, Tengku Kudin, to name a few, these were men who believed in independence from British rule. Great men who inspired and defended their land and religion from conversion. Hence, it is not surprising that this patriotic zeal inspired men under their command to listen and obey with absolute loyalty. Specimen examples from Pahang that features blades meant for combat carries the same design elements that is present in this specimen example that I am sharing with you today. Prominent features are its width at its base is wider as compared to a typical peninsular Malay blade with Bugis influences. It has looks, it has a central spine, it has the aur and tebing, it has a belalai gajah, it has a front and rear lurah, it features a well-decorated guard, the kerawang, and does not feature any pamor. To add icing to the cake with cherry on top, so to speak, observe the tangkai keris. It is short and stout. This proves beyond a doubt that this blade is a peninsular Malay blade in origin. This is not something that can be copied blindly. The dimensions, the weight, the point of balance, the material used are all factors that results in balanced proportion. You can't just take a picture and send it to be produced as a cheap knockoff without having all the dimensions and proportions way off point. It is just not possible. What you end up with is a contemporary hybrid creation void of any meaningful philosophy. Hence, with all these factual evidence, I would deduce that this keris likely is a genuine relic from the 19th century and most likely belongs to a patriot. I would further deduce that the original patriot may have met a heroic end, though somewhat tragic, and his piece may have been taken as a trophy of sorts. A pity we will never know who this character was, lost in time and history. But what we can be proud of is that this piece is now back in the Nusantara regions after spending some time away in the United States. Before I conclude today's video, let me share a verse from the Holy Quran, chapter 30, Surah Ar-Rum, verse 31 to 32, as a reminder to myself and my dear friends to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all matters, especially in matters of differences in opinions. Islam advocates kindness and humility to all. Certainly in no way does Islam advocate exclusive selectivity and division amongst humanity. Penny for your thoughts. To conclude today's video, I would summarize that what I have shared today is still barely scratching the surfaces of the Malay Keris culture. As I have mentioned many times before, Nusantara is made up of various indigenous ethnic communities, and to each have their own unique Keris culture and beliefs. You cannot simply adopt one set of belief system and generalize them across all other Keris cultures. It is always more interesting to listen to diverse cultures and belief systems. I think I have went on to explain a lot on just one Keris today, and I hope it benefits you and arouse an interest to pursue a deeper understanding on this subject. That is all for today's video. Thank you for watching till the end. I hope this video adds value to you and may you learn something new and useful from watching this. I look forward to reading your feedback in the comment section, so please feel free to leave me your feedback and I will personally reply to you. So, until we meet in my next video, stay healthy, stay safe, stay curious, and get excited for more to come. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.